Hello everyone, and welcome back to Think Outside the Board. This is the 4th edition of the Crowdfunding Roundup for September 2023. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at all of my hand-selected picks from the crowdfunding launches that happened during the period September 20th through the 26th. And I have 6 different campaigns to share with you today. 2 of these are on Gamefound, 4 of them are on Kickstarter. There are links to all of these campaigns in the description section below, and I also have my video tabbed, bookmarked, so if you scroll over the play bar, you can see the content. It's broken down, and if you don't have time to watch the full video, you can go just to the content that you're looking for. The best way to support this channel is still to like and subscribe, so if you're able to do that, we thank you very much for your support. So at the very end of this video, I will briefly mention the games that are new to my collection this period. And once you know what those are, you can sound off in the comments and let me know which of those games you're interested in, either seeing those games live played or seeing teaching reviews for those games. And also at the end of the video, I'll share what is likely to be profiled included in next week's video. So thank you very much for joining me here today. Let's get started on our 6 campaigns for today. The first of these is this game called Forage, and this had a September the 25th launch. They had a $3,000 funding goal. They are already up to about $25,000. I believe, does that qualify them for the biggest multiplier of the week? It does not. They're not quite there. There's another campaign that has a bigger multiplier. But this is a game that's designed by Mark Tuck. You may have heard of his games Orchard and Grove. Both of those games were these 9-card solitaire games. The cards are double-sided, so there's essentially 18 card faces, but in 9 cards. And they were published by Side Room Games, who's also known for Black Sonata and Maquis. And so this is the third part sort of in a trilogy, the third game in a trilogy, Orchard, Grove, and now Forage. And these are light pattern building games with melding and splaying and tile placement. Now, there's no video, unfortunately. It's just such a small campaign. Let's take a look quickly. I'm not sure if there are some videos included, but if there are, yeah, so there's some previews and reviews. So you can, feel free to check out the page here and look through these videos. But they're all too long, I think, for me to include within my video. Normally I include some videos here at the top, but that's if they're, 1 to 3 minutes. And a lot of these videos that are lower on the page are 10, 15-minute videos, just too long to be inside this video. We do know here that the campaign is going to run until October the 19th. And let's go down. It's a very simple campaign. There's just one pledge here. It's called Forager. This is a $15 pledge in the continental US. And when I talk about shipping, I'm always talking about the continental US. So if you're somewhere else in the world, you need to check out the shipping for where you are. So I won't mention US shipping again, but as I talk about it throughout this video, the shipping is always going to be termed in terms of the US shipping. So there's $5 shipping on this for a total pledge of $20, and this game is going to deliver in April of 2024. I believe, let's see if they have add-ons. I'm just curious if you can get their other 2 games through this campaign, Orchard and Grove. And it doesn't look like you can, so this is just for Forage alone. All right, so that is our first campaign for the video. Our second campaign is going to take us over to Gamefound, and this is a bigger campaign. There's more going on in this. Ghostfire Gaming, though, is a pretty new publisher. The only thing that I'm aware that they've published is a game called Fight the Blight, which I hadn't heard of before now. And that means, as far as I'm concerned, there's more risk involved in this campaign because you've got a publisher that's fairly new to the game, and they're producing a game and a campaign that is kind of miniatures heavy, which makes things more expensive, and they don't have the background in terms of having made a lot of those games. So they haven't done problem solving when things go wrong in production and distribution, as it inevitably does. Okay, so why am I showing you this miniatures game from a new publisher? And the reason is the designer, who is Peter Lee. Now, he's done many of the Dungeons and Dragons board games, like Castle Ravenloft, The Legend of Drizzt, Wrath of Ashardalon. He's also the designer of Lords of Waterdeep and Tyrants of the Underdark. Those are two really, really good games. Different kinds of mechanics. I think everybody's heard of Lords of Waterdeep, and they're all set in these Dungeons and Dragons universes. He was also one of the designers on Horrified, and he's worked on Magic the Gathering. So he's a fairly prolific designer who's been around the block, and I think that merits us taking a look at his newest game. Now, this is a tower defense co-op. It uses mechanics like action points, deck building, and worker placement, and it looks like it's going to fall in the medium-light range. We can see over here that they had a funding goal of $20,000. They are, at $92,000 about. They are not the most funded campaign of the video, nor do they have the biggest multiplier. That will be revealed later in this video. But if we look at the back of this, we can see that this campaign is going to run until October the 20th. So we're going to take a look at the video. We'll come back and we'll look at the 5 pledges and the various add-ons.
Aberrations lurk in the forests of Etheris, twisted, vile, and hungering. Can you survive the night?
Stop them! Hold them back!
Keep the fires lit! As shadows encroach upon the village, you must defend your only safe haven. You will harness your own unique skills and rely on whatever equipment you can find. Yet your survival also depends on your companions fighting at your side.
They approach from the east!
Rally the villagers to defend their homes.
We fight or we die!
I will hold them at bay.
Light bonfires to keep the darkness at bay.
Light the fire. This trip should slow them down.
Fortify your defenses, gather your resources, and save whoever you can.
The fire's lit.
Prepare for the encroaching darkness and the aberrations that lurk within. But beware the great beast, whose influence swells aberrant swarms and inflicts hideous transformations. As the night grows ever longer, you must maintain your resolve. Fight together, keep the fires lit, and never lose hope. But always beware the great beast and its aberrations.
Maybe that's not too many miniatures. I mean, it is miniatures, but it doesn't look like it's got, dozens and dozens of miniatures. So maybe they're taking off a bite size that they can actually chew. Okay, let's look at the various pledges here. We've got the standard edition, and this is $79 with $20 shipping, so that's a $99 total pledge. This is just the standard edition of the game. Let's see. Let's look at their product comparison up here, because this shows us what's in the standard versus deluxe editions of the game. So we can see here that everything is pretty much the same. The things that are different are highlighted here in yellow. So the deluxe version of the game is going to get you 4 deluxe player bags instead of the regular player bags, and then all of the miniatures. So if you're doing the standard version of the game, you're getting standees. If you're doing the deluxe version, you're getting miniatures. And then the only other thing in the deluxe here are these deluxe player bags. So the deluxe edition here is $149 pledge with $30 of shipping for a total of $179. And there are actually 2 things that come in this pledge that aren't listed on the comparison chart, but you can see them in the picture. These are dual layer player boards and wooden ability discs. From there, we go to the standard edition plus the Spellcasters expansion. Again, everything here is standard, so everything is standees. And this is going to run you $99 for the pledge, $25 shipping for $124 total. From there we go to the deluxe edition with the expansion, the Spellcasters expansion. This is a $185 pledge with $35 in shipping for $220 total. This will get you all of those upgrades. Everything in this pledge is miniatures. You're also getting the deluxe player boards, the deluxe bags, the wooden ability discs. And then our final pledge is this deluxe all-in for $249, $40 shipping, $289 total. And this basically takes the deluxe edition plus the Spellcasters expansion and adds on to that upgraded wooden tokens, the dice tray, a dice tower, sleeves, and the Honk of Doom expansion. Now, the Honk of Doom expansion is basically 4 miniatures, one bigger miniature and then 3 smaller miniatures, and then a set of 10 cards for each, so 20 cards total. Now, if you want to get some but not all of these add-ons, we can look at them over here in the add-on section. So the miniatures box is $69 as an add-on. The Spellcasters expansion is $45. That is the deluxe version, the one with the miniatures. If we look down here, we can see the standard expansion. This is the standees version. This is $35 as an add-on. The Honk of Doom expansion here, $29 as an add-on. And let me just show you what that looks like. So you've got this giant Gastra figure, this big miniature with 10 cards, and then you've got 3 smaller Gastras with 10 cards for these. So that's the Honk of Doom expansion. We've also got the upgraded wooden tokens. These only come in the deluxe all-in, so if you want to add those on to a lesser pledge, you can do that for $20. We've got a dice tower add-on here for $10, a dice tray add-on for $20, card sleeves for $10, and these 4 things here, the upgraded wooden tokens, dice tower, dice tray, and card sleeves, those are the 4 things that get added on to the deluxe all-in. Finally, there's a Great Beast pin as an add-on for $12. Not game related, just a pin. If you were following this campaign before it went live, you'll be getting this for free. If you didn't do that and you still want the pin, you can add it on for $12. And finally, Ghostfire Gaming is planning on delivering Aberration in December of 2024. I think I neglected to mention at the top, but this game was a September 26th launch, as are the rest of the games that we'll be talking about for the rest of this video. Starting with Cretaceous Rails back on Kickstarter. So for this one, they had a funding goal of $10,000. They're currently at $70,000. And this campaign is going to run until October the 24th. Now, the designer is named Anne Journey. The only game that I believe that she's published is a game called The Gware that was published back in 2014. So she hasn't had a published game for the last 10 years. This game is being published by Spielcraft Games, and they're probably best known for publishing For Glory. But we definitely do have a game here with a designer and a publisher that haven't done that much. This is a dinosaur-themed train game, which is a super strange combination of themes, but there you go. And the mechanics include things like network and route building, pick up and deliver, and worker placement. And I would say this is probably going to come in the medium-heavy range, although possibly medium-light. So we're going to watch this 1.5 minute video, and then we'll take a look at the 2 pledge levels and some add-ons.
Here at Primal Kingdom, your family will enjoy the Cretaceous era's premier all-inclusive rail and resort experience. Take a ride through the jungle on the roller cruise to see your favourite dinosaurs. Be sure to leave a rating. At the end of the day, relax and take in the best attractions prehistory has to offer. Our resort has the best combination of displays to provide you with a one-of-a-kind time travel tourism experience. Primal Kingdom, let your inner dino roar. Cretaceous Rails is a medium-heavy Euro for 1 to 4 players. Build the best rail and resort company in the Cretaceous era. Lay rails into the Cretaceous jungle. Take tourists on safari. Exploit the jungle and capture the highest-rated dinosaurs. Back at your resort, construct a multi-level tableau to customize your company's strategy with tons of unique abilities that get better on higher levels. Everything revolves around an innovative dual-action worker placement system. Each turn, select 2 actions by placing an executive between 2 action tiles. The action grid is randomized each round, creating new action pairs to challenge even the best planners. Do you have what it takes to dominate the time travel tourism industry? Find out in Cretaceous Rails.
Do you have what it takes to dominate the time travel tourism industry? I think that's a very compelling question. We all should be asking ourselves. All right, so it's such a weird mishmash of themes, and my only hesitancy about this, as far as the gameplay goes, is that little player board with the, I think it's 16 tiles, and you're going to be choosing 2 of them when you do actions. The fact that you have to recreate that every round just could be a little fiddly, annoying thing. I have a few games that, are on the lighter side, play fairly quickly, but then they have these kind of fiddly mechanisms that are a little bit annoying and can, hold up gameplay for something that you want to run quickly and smoothly. But I think this is a really neat looking game, and I just had to share it with everyone. So we've got 2 different pledges for this. There's the core game here for $79, $17 in shipping, $96 total pledge on that. And then we've got the crowdfunding edition. This one's a $109 pledge with $21 in shipping for a total of $130. So what's the difference? Well, the crowdfunding edition is going to come with the Cretaceous Skies expansion, 4 painted volcano miniatures, a 5th player expansion, a starting resources expansion, and an endgame scoring expansion. So there's 5 elements that are getting added on to this version of the game that won't be coming with the core game. Now, if we go down and we look at the add-ons, we're going to see a couple things that aren't in either version of this game. That means that all of the things that I just mentioned that are in the crowdfunding edition, the only way to get those is through the crowdfunding edition. So you can't get the core game and then add on a few of those items if you so choose. You're either doing an all or nothing. You're doing the core just with the core stuff, or you're doing that crowdfunding edition with all those extras. Okay, so this is just kind of a look at the core. You're still getting, the miniatures and things like that. And you're still getting the solo mode, which is cool. And then here they're showing you in this big pink square the things that you're getting in the crowdfunding edition. So you get that Cretaceous Skies expansion. That's sort of a big expansion in its own box. And then you get some of these smaller modular expansions. The volcano miniatures, the start cards module, the endgame scoring, and the 5th player expansion, the executive expansion. So it's all or nothing. You're getting one of those versions or the other, but you can't get those extra items separately. There are, however, though, 2 add-ons, which we'll see when we scroll down here. And these would just need to be added on to either pledge because they don't come with either one. So these are just 2 completely separate add-ons, which we'll see as soon as we scroll down to it. In just a moment. It's coming quickly. You're not going to believe when it gets here. Okay, here they are. So the add-ons. Variable player powers, $8. And then a deluxe neoprene playmat set for $49. And it's got 4 player mats, basically. So if you want either of these things, you need to add them on to either pledge. And then finally, Spielcraft Games is shooting to deliver Cretaceous Rails in October of 2024. That brings us to Defenders of the Wild. And this is a September 26th launch. They had a $50,000 funding goal. They're not quite there yet, but there's plenty of time before this campaign ends on October the 13th. And I've said this before, I'll say it again now. Campaigns tend to do 2/3 of their business in the first 48 hours and 1/3 of their business in the last 24 hours. And then not that much in the middle, surprisingly. I think in the middle, everyone is just kind of playing the waiting game and most people tend to then jump on and pledge in the last 24 hours. So I'm guessing that by the time this campaign ends, we're going to be looking at about $75,000. So it really should meet its funding goal. Now, this is a co-design between Henry Audubon, who you may know from Kingswood, Parks, and Trails, and T.L. Simons, who designed the block by block games, the Insurrection game, and then its sort of revised edition called Uprising. And the publisher here is Outlandish Games. They also published the block by block games, and I believe it is T.L. Simons' company. So this is a cooperative game. It looks to be in medium light complexity, and it uses action points as its sort of core mechanic. But it is themed with woodland animals. So we're going to take a quick look at this video, and then we'll go over the 3 pledges. Okay, now this campaign is similar to Creature Caravan, which we talked about, or I talked about in last week's video. And that is a new campaign from Red Raven Games and Ryan Lockett. And they were launching both board games and a role-playing game in that campaign. Same thing is happening here. So we've got 3 pledges. The first pledge is for the Almanac. This is a $40 pledge, $12 in shipping, $52 total, and this is the role-playing game. Then we've got the board game. It's a $44 pledge, $16 in shipping, $60 total. And the video that we watched gave you a pretty good idea, I think, of the world and kind of what's happening to some degree thematically, but we didn't get a good look at gameplay. So I would encourage you, if you want to see more gameplay for this game, come and take a look at this page, and the videos on this page. And then the third and final pledge here is just for a bundle that combines the role-playing game and the board game. This is an $80 pledge, $19 in shipping, $99 total. There's no add-ons in this at all. So you're either getting the role-playing game, the board game, or both, and that's it. And this project's going to deliver in August of 2024. Let's just take a quick look down the page, since there wasn't much else to show you. I just want to see if there's more to look at here. So just give you a look at the board here. There is a tutorial. Yeah, there's things that you can look at. I mean, anything these days feels inspired by a root that has these kind of forest animals. And, Creature Comforts is another one that used that. And this is interesting. You've got these, kind of player boards here, nice wooden components. It does look very root-like, but I'm sure it's not, I know it's not as heavy as root, or as sort of asymmetrically complex as a root was. But this is just to give you a look at some of the components, since we didn't really see that in the video. And you can come over here and take a look at the various videos if you want to go deeper into this. But anyway, that one's on Kickstarter, Defenders of the Wild. League of Dungeoneers, expansion and second print. Now, this one had a funding goal of $26,000. They're at $388,000 here. This is the biggest campaign of the video in terms of just biggest money, greatest amount of money just in total dollars, and also in terms of the multiplier. And this campaign is going to run until October the 26th. This was also a September the 26th launch, so they're running a 30-day campaign here. Now, as we see in the title, this is a second printing, which means in a situation like this, you can go over to Board Game Geek and take a look at the entry for the already delivered base game. Why did it not show? Oh, that's why, because I had expansion in there. And I would always encourage people to do this. If there's a game that's already out there, people have played it, why not? Why not and go look and see how it's been received? And this has been very well received. It has an 8.8 rating. That's very high. And the complexity is a 4.04. So I class anything that's a 3.33 or heavier as a heavy game. So you should just go into this knowing that this is a heavy game. It could be a deal breaker for some. It is designed by Michael Lundstedt and published by Von Braus Publishing. And it's a first for both of them. So normally I would say there's more risk involved with this because everyone's doing it for the first time. And while that is still true, they have already produced the game once and they've already delivered it once. So in that case, there's a little less risk involved because they're just repeating what they've done before, although they are doing an additional expansion with this. But they're not doing something new. They're doing what they've already done before. So a higher risk than a well-seasoned publisher, but not as high risk as someone who's doing it for the first time. So this is a co-op dungeon crawler. It's got 7 linked campaigns, 50 single quests, and the main mechanic here is action points. So what I'd like to do is take a look at this video, and then we will look at I believe it's 6 pledges with some add-ons. There's a lot to go over for this one. It's probably the biggest campaign of the video, just in terms of sheer amount of stuff. I think I can talk since they're not actually talking in this, but one of the things that's really neat about this, and you can see it here, is that they're using standees, but the standees have a front and a back, and that becomes mechanically important. So if a character is, facing away from something, they won't have the line of sight to see what's happening behind them. So if a creature attacks from behind, they won't be able to parry or block or things like that. And I thought that was a pretty neat way that they've used the standees with a front and a back and, different art for both sides. Another thing that you should know if you're considering backing this is that, like Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games, there is a certain degree of keeping track of stats on papers. It reminds me of the Hexplore series in that sense, where you're doing it on dry erase boards. But there's an element of RPG in this board game. It's not purely a board game that's gamified everything. There's still that kind of mechanic pencil and paper calculation and stat keeping that's a part of this game. And so, for some people that might be a good thing. They might really enjoy that and enjoy that RPG element to it. And some people may want a game that has kind of that number crunching incorporated into its systems so that players don't have to track that. And I think, you should know that because you want to make sure that you're getting a game that is right for you. You can see some of the player sheets over here with the stats that you'd be putting in on it. All right, let's take a look at these various pledges. There are a bunch of these. So the first game, the first printing is already delivered, and they've made some, updates and changes to that. So there's now an upgrade kit. You can pledge this for $16 if this is the only thing you want, if you already have the first version of the game. There's $15 in shipping, though, so it's a $31 total pledge. But here's what you're getting with this. You're getting a new hardcover rulebook, bestiary, a second quest book, quick reference compendium, and then a bunch of kind of upgraded cards and some sleeves. And yeah, so that'll essentially bring up your first printing to the same level as the new second printing. Okay, from there, we've got the False Prophet. This is the new expansion. It introduces caves and mines. So that's what you're getting with this. And here's the component list for this. Okay. So kind of some new settings and some mechanics in the way that the caves and mines function. So this is a $49 pledge. It's got $32 of shipping. It's an $81 total pledge when you include that. From there we go to the Knave pledge. This is essentially the base game. And it's got standees. This is a $92 pledge, $39 in shipping, $131 total. From there we go to the Queen pledge. Now the Queen pledge takes that Knave pledge and adds two things to it, the Ancient Lands expansion and the Companions expansion. So you're getting two additional expansions going from the Knave to the Queen pledge. The Queen pledge is $156, $42 in shipping, $198 total. And yeah, here's where they list those two new expansions that you're getting with this pledge. Finally, we've got the King pledge, which takes the Queen pledge and adds the new False Prophet expansion to it. So this is essentially the all-in. This is where you're getting everything that's available. And you can see the False Prophet expansion is listed down here. This is $189. $59 in shipping, $248 total. Now there is one final pledge. It's probably more than most people are going to want to do though. It's called Ace. It is $377, $59 in shipping for a total of $436. And this adds a bunch of luxury upgrades into the game. So these are things that are not available at any other pledge level. and it shows what they are down here. A numbered and signed certificate, your name listed in the rulebook, acrylic standees for both the core game and the False Prophet, which replace the cardboard versions. Most of the game comes with cardboard standees. Bases for the standees, some coasters, a complete dice set made from jade, a silk bag for the jade dice, and then a polyester League of Dungeoneers flag. So these are all, just extras that only come at this level. There you can see the nice bag there. Here's these coasters. Here's the nice bag with your jade dice and the nicer acrylic standees. Okay, so that's what you're getting at that level. And then there are some add-ons to look at as well. And if you're navigating this, if you go over and you're looking at this, be aware there were early bird prices, which are now done. There are also Spanish pledges. So, if you are pledging this, just make sure you are getting either English or Spanish, whichever thing you want, and you're selecting the right pledge, because there are multiple pledges for each thing. Okay, so here are the add-ons. We've got a rulebook PDF for $16, that upgrade kit, which you can, in addition to pledging for, you can add it on, $16. If you want to get your name in the rulebook, that is an $11 add-on. And then they've got some prices for the False Prophet if you just want to add it on to your pledge. You're looking at the early bird price right now. This may or may not change, we're not sure, because everything else that's early bird has already ended. So the fact that they're keeping this up here, I'm assuming this is going to be the regular price moving forward, but it's possible it could change. But for now, if you're adding on the False Prophet expansion, it's a $45 add-on. And then finally, this reprint of the League of Dungeoneers with the new expansion. This is all going to deliver in April of 2024. So that brings us back to Kickstarter for our final campaign that we're looking at. This is kind of going in the opposite direction yet again, a much smaller campaign. It's called Tiny Mini Golf. This one launched on September the 26th. Very small funding goal of $300 because this is a print and play roll and write. And so they are, funded very well for their funding goal right now with about $1,700. And this campaign is going to run until October the 29th. Now, this is a first-time designer and publisher, Camus Kaminsky. He's also the one publishing. I don't think he even has a name for his publishing entity yet. So he's just kind of publishing it in his own name. Now, this is a light mini golf themed roll and write and print and play. And I like to shine a light on, cheaper, more affordable campaigns for your budget. Also for, newer designers who need a leg up. But on top of all of that, I just think this is a really clever theme and design for roll and write. And there's kind of two phases on this. In one phase, you're going to be using these mechanics to create miniature golf holes, and then you're going to be also using mechanics to play the miniature golf holes that your opponents have created, which I think is really, really cool. So let's take a look at this video, and then we'll go over the 3 pledges. I also really like the art on this from Dixie Leota. It's just really appealing art style for something like this. Okay, so there's actually quite a few pledges considering this is just a simple roll and write. So we've got the core pledge here for $4, and there isn't going to be shipping on this campaign because it's a print and play. There's nothing to send you. You're just going to be printing out the files in November 2023. That's when they will be releasing the assets after the end of this campaign. So $4 for the core pledge here. There's also, and I think this is pretty cool, a core pledge plus 3D print dice. So if you've got a 3D printer and you want to print out their special dice, it's a $6 pledge, and that'll just get you the files for your 3D printer so you can print these custom dice, which is not something you see in a lot of print and play roll and writes, but I think that's pretty cool. And then they have this premium all-in pledge. This is $11, and there's 2 additional things you're going to be getting with this. Portable player sheets, and then premium stretch goals. Now, if you look here, you'll see that the estimated delivery for this is November 2024, which is a whole year away. The other pledges are going to be delivering in November 2023. So I feel like that means that there's inherently like a lot more risk for the premium pledge, because you're going to be waiting an extra year just to see what happens with these premium stretch goals, because that's essentially the difference. And in this case, what that is they're going to be designing more content, and then they're going to be giving you that content in a year's time. I've seen other print and play roll and writes do that, where they want to keep working on it, and so you're paying now to get more content later. Usually that content is only a few months off, though. So the fact that it's a year off is really far in advance. At the same time, we're only talking $11, and we're only talking, $7 over the core pledge, or $5 over the core pledge with the premium dice. So, for an extra $5, it's not that huge a risk. Just know, it's something that you might forget about because it's such a small thing. A year from now, you might not remember this is coming, and you probably would want to make sure that you put this in on your safe addressees, so that if you get something from them in a year's time, it doesn't just go into your junk folder. But it's neat that they're doing this, and I like to be able to encourage and help newer designers, and hopefully they'll come up with some cool stuff over the next year, and then in November 2024 you'll get some nice additions to this game. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please consider doing that. It's the best way to support the channel at this time. In terms of what I've gotten into my collection this week, what I've acquired that you might want to be aware of, and let me know in the comments below if these are games that you want to see me live stream, or games you want me to make a teach and review video for. I got Delta, which is the new game from Game Brewer, just delivered. I also, with that, got the Hippocrates expansion. And Delta, I'm really curious to get that played. It seems like Game Brewer's take on Lost Ruins of Arnak. I don't expect it to be identical, but there's a lot thematically similar and some things mechanically similar. So I'm curious to get that to the table. I also got in Oceans Legends of the Deep, the Legendary Edition with the new expansion. And I've heard great things about Oceans over the last couple of years. I jumped in on the last campaign for the newest expansion, so that finally delivered this week. So if you want to see video content on either of those 2 games, let me know in the comments section below. Finally, next week's video, I probably will be including 3 different campaigns in that video. There are 3 campaigns that I know of that I'm likely to include. One of those is the new expansions for the Shivers. One of them is called Fangs. The other expansion is called It's All Fun and Games Until. So those are 2 new expansions, and that campaign is already up. It went up Wednesday of this week, and the Shivers is very, very simple gameplay, a very light game, but it uses like pop-up books. And so you're exploring this pop-up book style location and interacting with that and kind of exploring. So it's very cool. It's very well produced in terms of components and production wise, and it's a very unique thing. But it's also a very simple light game. And then next Tuesday, there are 2 campaigns that I know about that are launching. There are also both expansion campaigns that I'm likely to cover. One is for Merchants of Magic. That's from Rock Manor Games. They've already produced the base game, so they're coming back. They're doing 2 more expansions for it. There's also a new Night Cage campaign coming from Smirk and Dagger Games. That base game was on crowdfunding about the same time as the Shivers. So it's interesting that they're both coming back and launching within the same week with expansions. So the Night Cage is coming back with an expansion called Shrieking Hollow. There probably will be more in that video, but those are the 3 campaigns that I know of that are likely to be featured. And then from there, we'll just have to see what else launches next Tuesday. Let me know in the comments if any of the campaigns that I profiled this week in this video are things that were new to you that you hadn't known about before this video, or if the video helped you, turn you on or turn you off of backing one of these games. Have a great week, play lots of great games, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Take care.